In this video, we'll look at how to set up a repo with a UI toolkit called Fabricator installed in that toolkit so you can build your own UI toolkit to use in projects. In other senses, this might be something that you would do inside of an existing project, but I wanted to give you a sense of how to do this from scratch as well. So here in GitHub, I have started a project. You can see the settings I've used. Since I'm going to basically put all the files into this I want, I don't have any README or git ignore or license or anything selected. So I click Create Repository, and GitHub has created that repository. I'm going to open it in Desktop, and then I'm going to go point to where I want it to go, which in my case I want to go into my Sandbox folder, and then it's going to put it in Toolkit Sandbox. So we'll clone there. Alright, so we have this blank project. Now I need to go over to Atom and add this project folder. So we're going to go to my sites, Sandbox, Toolkit Sandbox. Okay, so now here in this terminal, where I can be sure that I am within the project, you can see, of course, that I'm in that Toolkit Sandbox folder. What I want to do is bring over the script that's provided at the Fabricator website, which I've provided for you in this lesson. Looks like that. I'm going to paste that in. That's going to download and unzip the files that are needed for Fabricator. Okay, so you can see all those files appear there. That's great. We're going to run npm start next. Let's see, actually, I think in the yep, that's good. Yep. Which is also going to now install the node modules. It's installing that right now. And once it's installed all of the node modules, then it's going to actually run the start command and open up our project in the web browser. Okay, when you start seeing the cyan and purple there, you know that you're getting into Fabricator zone. Okay, so this is what pulls up. So this is the Fabricator site, and it's got some boilerplate stuff in place. You can see the overall structure here with the overview page and then the components page. It's the same thing as clicking through on each of these links here. Then there's a structures page. There's just one structure in here right now. And then there are pages. Note though that when you click on a page, it takes you to, I've opened it in a new tab so you can see, so we can get back easier, but it's taking you to a page where the entire structure is now taken over by whatever you have in place. So basically this is a documentation site for the components that you're going to build. And we'll look at more how to get going in that in the next video. So all this structure is generated by Fabricator based on the components that we set up in the materials folder here. So for example, you can see there's the button HTML. If I change the text here, stop clicking me, you see it refreshes and you see that stop clicking me text appear. Okay, so that's pretty cool. It's basically taking this little component and building it out into the structure over here. So allows you to develop your details, your actual small little components and structures and actual full page mockups apart from the actual site, where here you kind of have the documentation of the markup and stuff that you're going to use. And then of course we can lay on the styles, but I'll leave that to the next video as well. A few other things that you'll want to do is to update the package.json and the README that come with these. So the package.json, you are in version 1 or maybe 0.0.1 of your project. And then you'll want to update the name here to match your repo name. So mine was Toolkit Sandbox. Oops. And then this is going to be a sandbox for developing my toolkit. And you will just name this whatever you want to name your project, so don't feel like you have to match my settings at all. And then the author is something else. You'll change that to you. And I think that's all you need to change here in the package.json. Now the README, you basically want to wipe out this whole README and replace it with your own documentation for your own project. So mine is Toolkit Sandbox. Ooh. Okay. And then you'll put in whatever description text you want here. This can be, when you're doing a good README, this should be all the appropriate documentation for your site. So you might say something like, run this application locally using npm start. Oop. Okay. The one thing I suggest in the lesson is also to include a little snippet acknowledging that this is built using Fabricator by Luke Askew. So that's a nice little nod to the actual author here. Last of all, we'll want to make sure we commit. And publish. Now we can see all of our files here at our repo in GitHub, and that README is rendered here. Okay, so next, of course, we want to create a develop branch and start working on that, on our actual styles. All right, so there we are, and we can get rolling with getting this going.